This is Sarah Nolan with Life Upleveled Real Estate for Profit and Impact. And today's topic is going to be about how to purchase your next real estate investment with low or no money out of your own pocket. And something to keep in mind with real estate investing is that money is not always the most valuable form of capital. It's all about what you have and who you know. Sometimes what you have is money, and sometimes you don't have that liquid cash available to make your next purchase. So let's take a look at what you have and who you know. Do you already own real estate? Who do you know that does have the money? And what about seller financing? These are three ways to get into your next investment without your own actual money. And then there's also tax strategies to help you recuperate whatever costs you do end up needing to put in upfront. You can recoup those costs through special tax strategies. So first, if you already own real estate and you've owned it for more than a year or two, then you can find out how much equity you have in that investment or in those investments. And hopefully you've got renters who have been paying your mortgage, and maybe you have an accelerated payoff plan so that you gain equity faster. And hopefully you're in a market that is growing at a faster pace, because that's going to really set you up to have plenty of equity to put into your next place. And this is what we did with our first duplex. We took some equity out of our house and used all of that as the down payment. So no money out of our own pockets, right? And then the renters, the tenants, pay off the mortgage and the HELOC. Now, you can get a HELOC, which is great for if you know that you can pay the loan off right away, because they have an adjustable mortgage, an adjustable interest rate, which is not ideal long term, but it can be fine for a short period of time, like say 1 to 6 months. After that, then you get into paying extra money, paying too much interest, depending on what your threshold for risk is. Another alternative to that is a home equity loan, which often has a fixed rate mortgage. And sometimes it's a lower rate mortgage than if you had a HELOC and you're in that adjustable rate. So contact your local credit union or your bank to find out what their different loan options are to take the equity out of your house. If the interest rates are on the higher side, then I would not advise to get a cash out refi, because then you're going to be refinancing your entire house. And if you had a lower interest rate on your house, then that's going to bump your whole house interest rate up to the new rate. So look into home equity loans, home equity line of credits, and see what other products they have out there that don't require you to refinance the entire house that you're pulling the equity out of. So that's the first way. The second way is to network and figure out who's got a lot of extra money. There are more people than you would realize that have way too much money on their hands, and they need to find something to do with it. Because the thing is, if you have money that is not growing for you, then it's declining in value. And if you've got like hundreds of thousands of dollars or more, and it's just sitting there, say even in a bank that's accruing like 0.5% or even 2% interest, then that money is declining in value. And when you have that amount of money, that it's a really big deal. So people are looking to put their funds into real estate investments because they know that all of a sudden their money is going to grow potentially 6, 8, 10%, and maybe even make some income on top of that. So see who you can find in your family, in your circle, in your peer groups. Do some networking, go to investor conventions and conferences, and see who's out there who has got lots of money and is looking for a trustworthy person to put it in a good place. Now, if you already have some investments, this is a great place to be in because you have some more credibility. say, hey, look, I've already got these investments. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to take good care of your money. If you're just starting out, then it would be wise to read up on real estate investing. And let me show you a book that I recommend to everybody. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, which I believe this is mirror image, so you can't really read it from the screen. But read this book cover to cover, read it again and again, and make yourself an expert in real estate investing. And then when you go to your investor friends, to your friends who have the money, but they don't have the time, then you'll have a lot more to bring to the table. So then you're tapping into your intellectual capital, which is going to bring a lot of value to the situation. And then the third way that people get into investments without any of their own money out of their pocket is through seller financing. Now, this is where you bring in your relational and your human capital, because not every investor is going to want to 100% finance the investment. So you've got to be really good with relationships, build up a lot of trust and credibility with this investor, and make it a win-win situation for them to want to 100% finance you. So if you can start building relationships with people who have the assets that you would like to take on, then you're going to be set up for success a lot more in the process. And maybe in exchange, in exchange for the down payment, you pay a really high interest rate. And that can be, kind of concerning at first, but then once you get into that property, you've got a lot more options. You could refinance it at a better time when you have the liquid cash, or you could, make sure the numbers work to where the tenants are going to pay for the entire thing. And who cares what the interest rate is, because the tenants are paying for it. It really all comes down to, what are your ultimate goals in the end? If that works for you, then that's fine. And maybe that it's like you really want to buy this investment now, but you're going to be selling something else. Now is just not the time to be able to take the chunk from that other investment you're selling to buy the new one. Then you could do a balloon payment and do the seller financing in just for a short term until you're going to have that money to be able to pay it all off. And all of this comes with a certain level of risk. Ultimately, in my opinion, the easiest way to do it is to take equity out of a different investment that you already have and use that as your full down payment towards the next investment. Then you have no money out of pocket. Now, what some of you might be thinking is, well, what about money that I have to put in towards improvements? What about that cash that I have to come up with or take out of my pocket? Well, there's a couple of ways to deal with that. One is you can get a rehab loan, construction loan, depending on what it is. But you can also take some money out of your pocket, but then with some special tax strategies, you can end up getting that money back. And that's what happened with us. It's going to be different for every situation. So you've got to talk to your tax strategist. Let me know if you need a really good referral for that. And I've got somebody I can send to you. And some things that can help this process are to depreciate the real estate, to do a cost segregation, to depreciate what's inside of the real estate. And then if you have a real estate license, then there's other things you can do to be able to write off even more, to be able to capture that money back that you put into to that property. So there's a lot of ways around having to invest a lot of your own money into these properties. And then the cool thing is that when you go to sell it, say 5 or 10 years later, my opinion is to hold these long term, because then they really accrue a lot of interest and a lot of appreciation. These investments, when you sell them, you are profiting off of the bank's money. And that's not any money that you put into it. You had to front some capital, you had to leverage your relationships, your skills, your intellect, your previous real estate equity, but it wasn't money out of your pocket. And then you get to receive money back into your pocket because of that relationship with a bank and holding on to that and accruing all of that appreciation. So hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and we can have a deeper conversation about this. But I hope this is enough to get you started. And again, I highly recommend that you check out this book, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. That's really what got me into real estate investing and encouraged me actually to get my real estate license so that I can be an even more powerful asset to myself and to help other people change and transform their financial portfolios as well. So have a wonderful day and I'll talk to you guys soon.